Hi, and welcome to another episode of It's Just Racing, hosted by Jim and Jim. I'm Rico.
And I'm Jim.
And I'm Jim. And we're here to talk about racing. Just to kick things off, like I like to do when my buddy Rico does well. In the sprint car world, Rico Abreu swept the weekend at Skagit Speedway out there in Washington and pocketed $156,000 for the weekend. Good job, Rico. On to the Craftsman Truck Series at Darlington. They were at Darlington, right?
They were.
Why do I keep questioning myself? Anyhow, Lane Riggs, not Corey Heim, was on the pole. But Chandler Smith got the lead right away and led until he blew his right front tire and hit the wall. This will become something I say often. There was no caution. He was able to get it down to the pit road. Lane Riggs got the lead back, obviously, because the leader, Chandler Smith, blew his tire and hit the wall. Then, a couple laps later, Caden Honeycutt blew his right front tire, hit the wall. Matt Mills blew his right front tire, hit the wall. Still no cautions, though. Everybody was able to control their trucks and get them into the pits. 5 laps to go on the stage. Ty Majeski had a tire going down, but he's a good enough driver that he realized it and did not hit the wall. So, Corey Heim ended up taking the lead back from Lane Riggs. I always want to say Scott Riggs. Are they related?
I think it's his son.
Anyhow, Heim got the lead back, about 15 to go, and won stage 1. Corey Heim led to start stage 2, and Riggs got by him about halfway through the stage, and he won the caution-free second stage. Now, the interesting thing, there were no blown tires in the second stage. So that tells you it wasn't a Goodyear issue. It wasn't a setup issue. It was a low tire pressure issue. And they figured it out. So, stage 3. Corey Heim led to start stage 3. Lane Riggs got it back with about 36 laps to go, but 16 laps later, blew a right front tire and hit the wall. Now, this was the longest that they had gone on tires, so I guess they were just waiting to see if somebody would blow a right front tire and hit the wall, and it just so happened that Lane Riggs blew a right front tire and hit the wall. At the same time, Caden Honeycutt and Andres Perez got together, and Honeycutt spin, which brought out the first caution of the race. It was a nice caution-free race. There was some action, but no yellows. Just how I like it. Race restarted with 14 to go, and Corey Heim once again won the truck race, his 634th of the season, 10,983rd of his career.
And that was the first race of the Truck Series playoffs, right?
It was, so he is locked in the playoffs, as he should be, because he should pretty much already have won it.
Yeah, I think I saw if it was a normal point system, he could clinch the championship at the next race.
He deserves it. This is one of those deals where if he does not win the championship, it's kind of a scam.
Moving on to a series where you know the guy who deserves to win usually does. Formula One was in the Netherlands at Zandvoort. That was the last race at Zandvoort for a while. They won't be going back there in the near future.
Too many pretty Zandvoortian girls. They can't trust the drivers. That's why they're not going back, right? All the drivers are like, oh, look at all the girls from, where is it? Denmark? Sweden?
I'm not even gonna answer because you're just being goofy.
No,
right
actually,
now.
I'm not. I can't remember.
Anyways, it was Max's home race.
Oh, I can't remember where he's from.
That's
either.
okay. Oscar Piastri set the lap record. He took it from Max, so Max will not have the lap record at Zandvoort. Lando qualified second. Max was third. And a notable performance, Isaac Hadjar, with his best qualifying performance to date, was starting fourth.
That was impressive. I was pretty stoked to see Isaac up there.
He's definitely the leading Rookie of the Year candidate for me, at least.
Yeah, I'd say, Kimmy was looking good, but he's fallen off a cliff. I don't know what happened to him over there at Mercedes.
So on race day, Oscar got a little bit of a bad start. So he covered off Lando right away for turn one, and that allowed Max to get to the outside.
The Netherlands.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Yeah, just figured it out. Okay. Carry on.
So Max went around the outside, got into second, but then right away he got super loose. He said he got onto some sand that had blown across the dirty side of the track, and he I thought he was in the wall. I thought he was going to take out Oscar, but he had a really nice save going into turn three. I don't think anyone else could have saved that car.
No, Max is a machine. His reflexes are insane. That was a thing of beauty, that save was.
Some other first lap drama. Alex Albon gained 5 spots on the first lap. That was pretty impressive. On the other side, Gabriel Bortoleto lost 6 spots before turn one. It was like he missed the lights or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, or like he tried to start in third gear. He just didn't really go anywhere very fast.
Anyways, Lando was able to take second place back on lap 9. Max was on the soft tires. Both McLarens were on the hards. So once those soft tires were gone, the McLaren is just that much better. It wasn't too difficult for Lando. After that, just a notable radio moment I wanted to highlight. Will Joseph, Lando's race engineer, said, "Can you get closer to the car in front?"
I think he would if he could, eh?
Yeah. If that was the answer, you're running in second, and why didn't I think of that? I'll just get closer to the car in front. So that was a silly moment. I think he was really asking about how the dirty air was, if he was able to follow without overheating the tires. But regardless, it sounded funny. Lewis Hamilton, his bad first season at Ferrari continued. He crashed by himself in turn 3. That left-hander where you got to take the outside. You have to avoid the apex.
The best turn in Formula One.
It's a very good turn. It's got nice banking. There were a few raindrops. I don't know if that played into it. It looked like he just got up on a little bit of the paint and then understeered into the wall. So whatever happened, Lewis was out of the race. So there's a safety car for that on lap 23. And that was unfortunate for Charles because he had just pitted the lap prior. And since everyone got the free stop under the safety car, George Russell was able to pass him. So that was unfortunate for Charles. Teammate out of the race, and you lose a position to a rival. But that's about how Ferrari's year always goes.
It's been rough.
There was contact on the restart between Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson.
Let's talk about that, eh?
Okay, so Lawson was in front, and Sainz tried to pass around the outside into turn 1, which is a right-hander. So he's on the left side, and he squeezes Lawson to the apex, as you do if you're trying to pass someone. There was room to the left, but of course you're trying to take the corner. You don't want to give the guy all the room in the world. It was going to be a nice move. Lawson couldn't keep it tight to the corner. He got a little loose, and ran into Sainz, which cut a left rear for Lawson, a right front for Sainz, and Sainz needed a new front wing. Now, in real time, it looked like it was a racing incident. Would you concur?
I would concur in real time and all other time.
Yeah, my initial reaction was looking at it to see if Lawson should get a penalty, but it was just, he got a little loose. That happens. It was nothing intentional, nothing malicious, just he lost the car a little bit. So I called it on the spot a racing incident. If you had to assign blame, it was Liam Lawson, but it was really neither driver's fault. The stewards, however, decided in their infinite wisdom that it was Carlos Sainz's fault. And for that, they gave him a 10-second penalty and 2 penalty points on his license. Carlos Sainz was beside himself. He could not believe it. They told his race engineer told him, we've got a 10-second penalty, and he said, "Who has a penalty?" Because he thought someone else had a penalty. It was the most ridiculous penalty I've ever seen. I have no idea what the stewards were doing. They were just bored, maybe throwing a dart at a board, and who's going to get a penalty? We need to make things more exciting here. We don't like Carlos today.
Yeah, that was just wrong. I'm even watching it 2 days later. It's still wrong. It was just a racing incident. They both cut tires. They both lost time due to it. Move on. Don't over-regulate and over-officiate. Just let racers race.
And just a little bit of the official stewards' decision. What they said was car 55, that's Sainz, was attempting to overtake car 30 of Lawson on the outside of turn 1. The front axle of car 55 was not ahead of the front axle of car 30 at the apex of turn 1. Car 55 attempted to stay on the outside of car 30 and a collision occurred. We considered that car 30 had the right to the corner and therefore car 55 was wholly or predominantly to blame for the collision. What they just described is called racing. In a race, you try to overtake the cars in front of you to be in a better position.
They don't always like overtaking in Formula One. Sometimes it's just a parade.
And sometimes, most of the time, in fact, to overtake, you have to pull alongside a car in a turn. And that's what Carlos Sainz did. And so I think perhaps the stewards, they're not familiar with what a race is.
See, and that's from a normal person point of view, the biggest knock on Formula One is that there's no passing. People complain it's a parade, it's all where you qualify, and then they go and penalize somebody for making an almost clean pass. It's just stupid, and it just hurts their brand and their reputation by handing out penalties like that.
From the debris from the Sainz front wing, there's a virtual safety car to clear that off the track. The stewards went in and grabbed that, or the track marshals. Sorry, I don't want to give the stewards any credit.
No, that track marshal lady, she hopped that wall, ran out there, grabbed it, and hopped the wall again. That'd be a fun job.
But then there's a little bit of a battle between Charles and George. Charles got the jump after the virtual safety car, and then he made a move. George closed the door. I think Charles was there, and George should have given more room. But George Russell's an aggressive driver. He's always going to have the elbows out. He's not giving up that spot without a fight. And Charles went for it. He actually had all four wheels in the gravel at the apex of the turn, and he somehow kept it back on the track and made the pass. It was an aggressive move from both drivers. I would have liked to see George give a little more space, but seeing as Charles ended up gaining the position, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, it was good racing.
Yep.
I liked it.
It was entertaining. After that, there was... I guess this is when the penalty for Sainz was announced. It happened a little bit later, and it was even more ridiculous. But we already talked about that. Moving on, Kimi Antonelli pitted for soft tires, and for some reason Ferrari had Charles pit to cover that off. I'm not sure why. He looked like he had a bunch of time in hand. I don't think Kimi was going to gain the whole pit stop and then pass Charles. But either way, Ferrari decided they needed to cover that off. And this is where it all went downhill for Charles. On his outlap, Charles, he had just stayed ahead of Kimi, and Kimi tried a dive bomb on the inside of turn 3.
You can't drive the inside of turn 3.
It's impossible. Just because of the banking on the outside of that turn, you can't take the inside. You're going to understeer into the wall every time.
But he didn't understeer into the wall.
No, that's because Charles was between him and the wall. And so he drove into Charles and wrecked Charles, and Charles was out of the race.
And he sat in a folding chair.
Yes, he was very sad. He just watched the rest of the race from a little hill all by himself. So yeah, Kimi got a 10-second penalty, which was obviously deserved. Which same penalty for Kimi making a dumb move and wrecking Charles versus Carlos making a pass and getting bumped into. That's not the same penalty. That's the last I'll say about that. But so 10-second penalty for Kimi. I don't know if he got penalty points on his license, but I would assume so.
I didn't see anything, but you never know with Formula One.
There was another safety car. They went green with 15 to go. Both McLarens were on hard tires. Max and everyone chasing them was on soft tires, but it didn't matter. The McLarens were just that fast. Story of the season. Kimi got another penalty for speeding in the pits. So there's up to 15 seconds of penalty if you're counting. Not a good race from the youngster at Mercedes. And then the first problem for McLaren, mechanical problem this year. Lando Norris lost the engine with 7 to go.
He was running second place, right?
Yeah. He was like 1.2 seconds behind Oscar. He was trying to run him down. Didn't look like he was going to get there.
He was closing on him, though. And you know what they say? They're always fastest before they blow.
Yeah. So Lando blew up, and then he found a different hill to sit on. And he and Charles just both sadly watched on. Race went green with 4 to go. Oscar won again. Max ended up second. And Isaac Hadjar with his very first career podium. So well done to Isaac. He ran
in the junior Red Bull car.
Yeah, he ran a quiet race. He did everything right. He held off Charles and George on all the restarts, and he was rewarded with that 3rd place.
I did not, at the beginning of the race, think that he would be any higher than 9th by the end. It just, on paper, it didn't make sense, but he did everything right, and kudos to the kid. The only one who hasn't been in the Red Bull car once again was the best finisher of the bottom 3.
I saw the press conference afterwards. They asked Max and Isaac about that. They said, what do you think about potentially being teammates at some point? And Max said, that's a terrible idea. I hate it. And I think he was coaching Isaac a little on how to be sarcastic to the media, because then Isaac said, I don't like Max. I don't want to drive with him. And then they just laughed and didn't answer any more questions. That was kind of funny.
That's a Max thing to do.
Anyways, it was Oscar Piastri's first career Grand Slam. So that's exciting for him. And he's now got a 34-point lead in the championship with Lando's DNF.
Now, what is a Grand Slam in the Formula One world?
Now, that's when you get pole position, you lead every lap, you have fastest lap, and you win the race. So 4 things.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that was Formula One. It was actually an interesting race to watch. We've had 2 interesting races so far.
We have. It was a good weekend for racing.
It was a great weekend for racing, I would say. Xfinity went to Portland. I didn't know this, but apparently this is the last race at Portland for the NASCAR fellows. Believe it or not, Connor Zilisch was on the pole for a road course race. And he won stage 1. Only interesting thing other than Zilisch pulling out to a 15-second lead over Allgaier was 3-4 laps in the race. Just a weird deal. Matt DiBenedetto just hangs a left and pulls off the track. And then you can see he's trying to get out of the car really fast. Then he falls out of the car because he didn't have all his wires and everything unhooked, it looked like. And he's taking off his shoes, and I'm thinking, is he having a mental breakdown? He's having a Ricky Bobby moment with the invisible fire? But there was fire in the footwell of the car. He said all of a sudden his feet were hot, and he looked down and he couldn't see his feet because it was just all flames. So something must have ruptured, some line running through the driver's compartment, and started a fire. He showed the heat shields that they run because the trucks do get hot on the road course.
These are the Xfinity cars?
Yeah, sorry, the Xfinity cars. Everything runs hotter on a road course. And the shields were all charred, and yeah, his feet were hot. So he was scared, and that's why he got out of that car like Ricky Bobby. So he's fine, though. He's driving his Corvettes around today somewhere. I think he bought another one, I saw. He's a Corvette guy. He just needs some New Balance shoes now, and he'll be good to go. First thing that the keyboard warriors had a problem with was the non-competitive pit stops. Being a standalone race, all of the high-paid pit guys were in South Carolina. They weren't in Portland, Oregon, so they decided, NASCAR, doing the right thing for once, did not have competitive pit stops. They were timed. It had to be longer than however many seconds. It was the right thing to do. All the NASCAR keyboard warriors were angry, and NASCAR's ruined NASCAR. That's why I don't watch it. Yet you comment every week, so you do watch it. So just shut up. Anyhow, they had non-competitive pit stops. You came out where you went in. So obviously Connor Zilisch, who had a 15-second lead before the DiBenedetto feet on fire caution, came out first. He led every lap and won a caution-free stage 2. Stage 3, Zilisch led every lap until 12 to go. Anthony Alfredo spun and could not get it refired on track. Then we had the typical restart chaos that you have in all fendered car racing nowadays. Carson Kvapil pushed Austin Hill to the lead. William Sawalich way overdrove, got loose. There was contact all over. Zilisch had one of his rear fenders caved in, had a horrible tire rub. Looked like the motor was blowing up. He was shooting so much smoke out of the car. He kept going. He was in third place. Luckily, the fender cleared itself, so it didn't cut a tire down or anything. Zilisch caught back up, closes the gap to 2/10, getting ready to set up a move on Austin Hill, who was leading, and another caution comes out for Jack Perkins, who got stuck in the grass. I don't think he was stuck. They showed the replay many times. I think he just wanted to caution because he didn't want to go a lap down and wanted to be up there. He's a Australian supercar guy. I think this is his second start. So he just wanted to keep playing. So I think he just sat there to bring out the caution, my opinion. Green, white, checkered. Yay, we love those. Especially on road courses, which is why Junior here won't even watch road courses when his favorite driver is racing because he knows he's going to get wrecked. Well, Connor Zilisch set the internet on fire by playing chess when everybody else was playing checkers. So, turn 1, it's a tight right-hander, which goes into an even tighter left-hander. And if you overdrive into turn 1, NASCAR set up what they would call a little penalty area where you have to drive around these. They called them the A-frames. They were basically like little advertising tents. You had to drive around those. Zilisch did it earlier in the race. NASCAR said that's fine. You're good. You drove through the A-frames properly. So he knows he's going to get punted because he's the best driver out there.
He's got Austin Hill behind him.
Yeah, so that's a guaranteed to get wrecked. So he overdrove turn 1 and drove through the A-frames while everybody else is beating and banging the hell out of each other in turn 2. And Zilisch came out in the lead and won the race. He didn't do anything wrong. NASCAR said it was clear. All the keyboard warriors in their mom's basements went nuts about how he cheated and they should take it away and give the win to Carson Kvapil, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not how it happens. Carson Kvapil didn't even finish in the top 5, I don't think. But yeah, Connor Zilisch won, I believe it's his 8th win of the year.
Yes, breaks the rookie record for the Xfinity Series.
And kid's just smart. They asked him afterward. He's like, yeah, I did it earlier in the race and NASCAR said it was fine, so I did it again. And funny thing, so all these people are crying. And Denny Hamlin was on somebody's podcast today. And he said that all of the Xfinity cars during practice were practicing taking that shortcut. So everybody wanted to do it, but nobody was smart enough to do it in the heat of the moment, except Connor Zilic. And he won the race, which he should have won anyway, because he was by far the dominant car out there. Now, the last interesting thing about this race was those 4 rookies. 4 rookies finished first through fourth. It was Zilic, William Sawalich, Nick Sanchez, and what's Eckes' first name?
Christian Eckes.
Christian. I was going to say Jeremy. I have no idea why. I think maybe I raced with a Jeremy. I don't know. Anyhow, so yeah, 4 rookies, and Connor Zilic, he won his 8th race by being smart.
Moving on to Nashville, the last race of the Indycar season, on an oval, your favorite.
Yep, where Indycars belong, on ovals, right?
Sure. I forget who was on pole. It might have been Pato. It was probably Pato.
It was Pato.
Yes. I think it was Pato and Lil Dave on the front row, David Malukas. Somewhere in the middle of the field, they decided to go 4 wide into turn 1. And then Christian Rasmussen, fresh off his Milwaukee win, crashed all by himself.
And he was running the Metallica car too, wasn't he?
I thought that was Rosenquist.
I don't know. You tell me.
I think it was Felix Rosenquist.
Okay, well, he wasn't running the Metallica car. No, he runs that, like, artificial sweetener car. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't running any car after turn 1 because he was out of the race. So that's quite the turnaround from the win to pulling a Nolan Siegel. After that, you had Pato and Alex Palou. A lot of side-by-side close racing for the lead for like 15, 20 laps. Palou was on the outside and he just could not get clear. It was pretty good racing, I think.
You acknowledge that. I was just going to say you have to acknowledge that it was some good oval racing.
Yep. Once they caught the back of the field, Pato started to pull away. He was getting through the lap traffic a lot better. Pulled out a lead of like 4 seconds over Palou. And then they ran like that until lap 52, where Palou pulled in for an early pit. He had a right front going down, and he, realized it was going down before he took the corner and slowed down enough that he was able to get it back to the pits without tearing anything up. So that was a real smart move to be able to feel that and react in time. I was impressed. I think you compared him to Max Verstappen. You called him a robot.
I did.
He only lost 1 spot from that, so that was pretty quick thinking. And then, I know you want to talk about this, Louis Foster and David Malukas. Foster was getting lapped. He had already been lapped, actually.
He was lapped. Malukas was running second.
Yes. And on the front straight, Malukas is coming on the outside to pass him. And Foster all of a sudden turns right on the straightaway.
A hard right to block him after he's already a lap down.
So obviously Malukas has to get out of the gas. And then in the corner, he comes down and spins himself across Foster's nose. Would you like to take away the analysis on that?
I just I had a real problem with his move. If he wouldn't have done that, then Malukas would have been by him and we could have resumed racing as normal. But it's just a bullshit move from the moron with the lame mustache. That's really all I have to say about that. I do believe they penalized him. Didn't he have to do a stop and go or a drive-through or some kind of penalty they gave him for blocking, but he had already, essentially wrecked out second place, so he deserved more than he got.
You know my philosophy about lapped cars. Get out of the way.
This is up to you. Once you get lapped, you'd have to park.
That's a good idea. Indycar, if you're listening, consider.
No, don't do that. No.
Foster did get a drive-through penalty, not a stop and go, so even less of a penalty than you thought. Santino Ferrucci had a penalty. He had to start at the back on the restart. I don't remember for what, but he had more of a penalty than Louis Foster. I would guess that the infraction was less egregious because he didn't wreck anyone.
Yeah.
But he was
some bad officiating throughout the weekend, but some good racing.
Ferrucci started moving after that. He passed like 10 people on the restart. With about 100 laps to go, Pato, who had led the entire race, got a right front flat, It was basically the same as Palou. It was like a slow leak, and he went into the corner. And Pato is a human, yeah, and he is not a robot, and he just went straight into the wall.
He did not catch it in time.
So Pato was out of the race, which was too bad for him. He was looking to finish the season strong, was running a perfect race, and then kind of outside his control, and he was out of it. And at the same time, his teammate Christian Lundgaard had some sort of problem. I never found out what, so both McLarens were out.
There's
Both.
3.
Yes, we still had Seagull.
So Nolan Siegel was the best McLaren driver for the weekend. You can't pick on him anymore today. You have to go back to Jacob Abel.
At this point, we had a bunch of new leaders. Alexander Rossi stayed out at the caution, so he led a couple laps until Joseph Newgarden took the lead. He hasn't done that much this year.
He's done that a lot this year. He just gets wrecked out of the lead when he has it,
I suppose. His teammate Scott McLaughlin was right behind him in second. Marcus Armstrong was in third for a while. On the final pit stop, Newgarden slow on the left front cost him the spot to his teammate.
I'm going to say something.
Yeah,
Okay, we're going to pause.
I was going to keep going, but you want to say it?
Okay, this same tire changer has had 3 issues this season. Now, in a 17 race season, if you are the one who's causing slow pit stops in 3 of those 17 races, I don't think you should be employed as a tire changer anymore. Now, I'm going to go a little further. I'm not a sexist. I have no problem with women. I like them very much. This is a female tire changer, and the only reason I bring that up is because Penske is one of those teams that will not even talk to you about being a pit crew member unless you have collegiate or pro athlete experience. So every guy on this team was like a D2 football player. These guys are immense. They are ridiculous specimens. And this blonde girl keeps screwing up. I'm sorry, but it's the blonde girl. They need to make her a non-tire changer next year. And that is all I have to say. Other than that, I love blonde girls.
During the pit cycle, Alex Palou was able to get by both Penske cars. Ganassi has had really good pit stops this year. Unfortunately, he got stuck behind Nolan Siegel, who was going a lap down.
Hey, but he was still the best McLaren driver on track.
But that allowed both Penske cars to close up and pass Palou. Palou was really struggling to get around the lap traffic the whole race, really. I don't know if it was something with the car setup or he just didn't want to take too many chances since the race didn't mean anything for him.
But wouldn't you take more chances? It's not your equipment. What the hell? Have at her, bro.
When you're going 200 miles an hour in an open cockpit car, you might feel a little differently.
Fine.
Anyways, Scott McLaughlin took the lead with 26 to go, but Joseph Newgarden got past him on the next lap. McLaughlin got a little loose, really gently got into the wall, was able to keep going, but they threw a caution.
And the announcers were praising Indy for being so quick on that caution.
It was a dumb caution. That's all.
He scraped the wall and kept going. Like they did 87 times in the NASCAR races at Arlington. You scrape the wall and you keep going. He scraped the wall, he kept going, and then they threw the yellow.
So then there's a restart with 12 to go. Alex Palou was able to get into second place and started chasing down Newgarden for the lead. There's a good battle between Kiffin Simpson and Scott McLaughlin for third place. They were side by side for like the last 10 laps. I thought Simpson had it at the line, but McLaughlin did get him for third place. Joseph Newgarden was able to get his first win of the season.
Hey, can you say it a little happier?
Like, you're the one who's the big fan.
Joseph Newgarden finally got a win this season. I believe it's his 11th straight year with at least one victory. And he should have had 4 that I can remember. But he finally got a win, and Joe needed that win. He's been kind of down lately. They said that the sparkle isn't in his eye, but hopefully he gets the sparkle back now that he's got a win to end the season.
So now that the season's over, Alex Palou ended up with only 8 wins. Looked like it could have been a lot more. He really fell off the second half of the season. I don't know. He didn't dominate as much.
He could have won probably 11 or 12. And then if you add on the 4 for Newgarden, we could have had a season with only 3 winners.
Yeah. But yeah, other winners were Kyle Kirkwood, Pato O'Ward, Scott Dixon, Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, and Christian Rasmussen. So we did have a lot of different winners when at the start it looked like it would just be the 2. Fun fact, every driver led laps this year except for Jacob Abel. Just a fact for you.
Just a fact from the president of the Jacob Abel fan club.
A couple other things. Nolan Seagull ended the season in 22nd place in the point standings in that McLaren.
Take that. So do you feel they should have a different driver in that car?
You know, I can't help but think if they had kept Theo Pourchaire, he would have finished, 13th or 14th.
I forgot all about Theo.
Yeah.
Huh.
Theo doesn't have a ride anymore.
And you remember everybody.
And then you heard some rumors that Prema might be closing the team. They finished 21st and 24th, and outside of the pole position at the Indy 500, they really were a non-factor this year.
That's the thing, the amount of money that was spent up front to build that team from the ground up. They didn't buy somebody else's stuff. They bought all new everything. I forgot her name. The girl who is one of the owners of the Iron Dames put like $40 million into Prema just for this season. They got some sponsorship when Schwartzman got the pole in Indy, but this weekend their cars were bare. They had nothing. And there's a lot of reliable talk out there that they're closing up. They're done. It's 1 year and done, and that'll kind of suck. Hopefully somebody buys the team or something, but don't want to drop down to lower car counts than 27 because, in my opinion, that's too low already.
You heard some other rumors also, I hear?
Well, silly season is starting. The races ended and now people start moving cars and getting fired. The only, real thing is that Will Power will no longer be driving for Penske. They let him go. Apparently they want to go with somebody younger and not with the best driver that they had this season. The only guy who won this season up until Newgarden did. I think it's a bullshit move. I understand he's old.
He's 44.
But he can perform. And he's been there, I don't know how many years.
He's at 18.
He's got 2 championships. I think he's won an Indy 500. And you just
42 wins, 71 pole positions.
And you just, go on. We want to get some young guy. Now let's sign Nolan Seagull instead. We don't know who's going to be in the car yet. The only thing we know is that Will Power is gone. We also know that Rinus VeeKay is no longer going to be driving for Dale Coyne Racing. I found that out just an hour and a half or so ago. No idea where he's going. The way it was worded, it sounds like he's the one who instigated leaving, which I would hope for his case that he's got a ride lined up. If you'll remember, he didn't have a ride to start the season until something happened. I don't remember. And he got hired like 2 weeks before the Indy 500. And there's a rumor that Jim here is very invested in. that Colton Herta, in chasing his license points, super license points that you need for Formula One, will be leaving and going to Formula 2. What do you think about that?
I think that's a ridiculous rumor. I think whoever came up with that rumor, um, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't. It makes no sense. It'll never happen. The only reason you would go to Formula 2 is because you want to go to Formula 1. Anything less than a championship in Formula 2 is seen as a failure. As far as the super license points, well, first off, Colton Herta is not talented enough to drive in Formula 1.
He's not.
I know Max Verstappen, talking about Alex Palou last week, said, the Indy drivers are good and we don't know how they would do over here. But he's just being nice. Formula 1 drivers are better than Indy drivers. Alex Palou is the only one who could be competitive. Let's just be real for a second.
I don't even know if he could be competitive. Definitely not right off the bat.
But there's not a chance that some of these midfield guys, yes, I call Colton Herta a midfield guy. He didn't win a race this year. He's maybe a top 10 driver. He's not even the top driver at Andretti when he had Kirkwood with 3 wins this year.
Yeah.
I think the people who think he's going to Formula 1 are just delusional.
Or Formula 2. You might as well just go down to go-karts.
Yeah, and with the super license points, a Formula 2 championship, you get the same amount of points as an Indy championship. So if you really wanted the points, just win the Indy championship. So that's what I got to say to that.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of seat shuffling and movement this week. So we should have all kinds of fun stuff for you next week about those things. Moving on to the still unnamed Cup Series at Darlington. Denny Hamlin, the old man, was on the pole. Didn't even get a chance to do anything because Josh Berry lost it. The tire pressure is too low. He was bottoming out. He lost it and spun right away in turn 2, I believe, on the first lap. Slight damage to Tyler Reddick. Some very heavy damage to Berry's car. Funny enough, they got his car put together. He came back out like
120 laps down.
Yeah. And turned the fastest lap of the race.
Got that bonus point.
That was hilarious. So then Chase Briscoe grabbed the lead on the restart. Went through all the green flag pit stops. And Chase Briscoe reassumed the lead and won stage 1. I want to call it a caution-free stage 1.
But there was a caution in it.
But it was on the first lap. Okay, fine. In my little brain, it was a caution-free stage 1.
If you ignore the cautions, it was.
Yes, the caution won. Anyhow, Hamlin had the lead to start stage 2, but Briscoe grabbed it back after 18 laps. He's really turned it out at the end of the year here, hasn't he?
He's been impressive.
Carson Hocevar finally brought out a caution at lap 30. He'd been trying really hard to bring out a caution all race long. I think his helmet was too tight or something. He was just driving really dumb and really aggressive at the beginning of the race and finally brought out a caution. So there were no green flag pit stops at that time. Unfortunately, it was right about when everybody would have started to pit. And Briscoe led the restart. Went through green flag pit stops again. Briscoe held on to the lead. His caution with lap 28 laps to go in stage 2 when Ryan Preece, I don't know what the hell he was doing. You actually laughed out loud.
I did. It was kind of comical.
I mean, we pick on Cody Ware a lot because the guy's
and
really not,
so,
he's really not good. But Ryan Preece just straight out drove through him. They were on a straightaway, I believe.
Yeah, they were.
And he just pounded him in the ass, and Cody Ware went around and wrecked him. I don't know. It's like, what the hell, dude? It's like he thought he was in a modified somewhere. Anyhow, everybody pits. That's the thing. Everybody pits all the time there because it's so necessary. Tire wear is great. I hope they never change anything at Darlington. Leave that old asphalt and those soft tires and let the pit crews earn the money or lose their money. Like that Bowman one. That was funny.
Yeah, Bowman. Do you want to talk about that? Or?
Alex Bowman had the worst pit stop I've ever seen. Tire changer goes out there and the gun's not working. So they look like a bunch of mimes out there trying to tell each other what was going on because it's so loud you can't hear anything. So then he finally gets the point across that, hey, the gun ain't working. So goes back to get a new gun, and they give him a gun that's not hooked up to a hose. It's just a gun with like a foot of hose hanging off of it. It's like, what the hell is he supposed to do with that? So then they figured out that the hose wasn't attached to the compressor. And then the announcers tried to blame it on NASCAR, saying, well, NASCAR provides all the equipment, so that's not the team's fault. That was the most ridiculous pit stop I've ever seen. How the hell do you not realize that the hoses aren't attached to the compressor?
So it was a 40-second pit stop. So he lost a couple laps.
It was hilarious. It's funny that they kept showing it over and over again, and it was funnier every time, and then they tried to defend the team.
You just watch a different crew member every time. The gas man I thought was the funniest. He was just like, oh, what should I do?
I'm just going to stand here, bro. It was great. I'm a big Hendrick fan, but it was funny. On the restart, another caution right away. Ryan Blaney had to check up. Kyle Busch got loose, and Austin Dillon got into Blaney. Spun wrecked him. So another restart. Chase Briscoe led it and won stage 2. Stage 3, Tyler Reddick grabbed the lead at the start of stage 3. I got it for almost like a whole lap. I don't even know if he actually registered as a lap lead because Chase Briscoe got it back right away. Held on to it. Went through green flag pit cycles again. Sorry for me, this was a great race because you have all these green flag pit cycles. Tyler Reddick still didn't have the lead. Chase Briscoe did, though. His caution on lap 55 when Wisconsin's own Derek Kraus had a spectacular engine failure. Yeah, we had fire and everything. So if it's going to blow, be the show, you know. Of course, everyone pitted. Restart with 48 to go. Briscoe led. They were putting on a show. Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones was up there.
Both of the legacy cars, because Nemechek was in 4th.
Yeah, that was good to see with the legacy cars. Eric Jones does have a history.
He does. He's won the Southern 500 twice.
Right, and this is Briscoe's second win also.
Yep.
So, yeah, Briscoe won.
He led 309 laps.
It was dominating fashion. It's like he thought he was Connor Zilic for a second there.
I mean, we both were thinking that he could be kind of a sleeper pick to win this championship. He's turned it on at the right time.
The way they turned it on at the right time of the season, he had that run of like 4 pole positions in a row, and they're doing everything right, and they're doing it quietly.
In the playoffs, it's all about momentum. You got to build on success at the right time, and he looks to be doing just that.
And he's got his win, so he's locked into the next round. So we got anything else?
Nope, that's all. Except for next week.
Next week, Cup and Xfinity at Worldwide Technology Raceway, which they say is in Missouri, but it's not. Formula One is in Italy at Monza.
The Temple of Speed.
The Temple of Speed.
Ferrari needs a good race.
Or at least finish. Have one of their drivers finish. That'd be good.
Not a double DNF.
No. And the World Endurance Championship is at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. It's a 6-hour race, I believe.
It is. Yep. They're back after a month off.
All right. So Indy's done. Trucks are off because trucks are always off. It annoys the hell out of me because it's one of my favorite series to watch. So yeah, Cup, Xfinity, F1, and WEC next week, and I'm sure we will have a lot more information about where people are going in IndyCar and or Formula 2. Thanks for listening.